there's all these stories about, guys over in Macedonia who are running these fake news sites.
Number 24 is Content Farms in Macedonia.
Бидејќи ако се направи грешка, таа ќе биде кобна. Нема враќање назад.
So Europe need to remain more sexy lady in the world. Ajde, majkата!
Господа ја чува Македонија и низините граѓани.
Summer loosens her grip. Children prepare for school. Parents pack up their vacation things and memories. Macedonians prepare to celebrate Independence Day. At the same time, the silly season in Macedonia, meaning the election period, this time for local election, begins to gear up. We'll discuss all this and more in this episode of the Macedonian Content Farmers Podcast. I'm Jason Miko, coming to you from the foot of the Catalina Mountains in Oro Valley, Arizona.
And this is Cvetin Shalimanov in Skopje, Macedonia.
How you doing, Svetin?
Good. As you said,
Yeah.
Summer is almost over, so it's safe to go outside now again.
Well,
After a few weeks
of what? Heat?
it was pretty brutal.
Okay. We're recording, this is episode 192. It's August 24th, Sunday. It's the morning my time, afternoon your time is typical when we record. It will again today be 40 degrees Celsius. Yesterday it was 40 degrees Celsius. The day before it was 40 degrees Celsius. The day before that, I think it was 39. But summer is not over here, and won't be for a long, long time.
Well, it's never over there, I guess.
Actually, this is so, and I posted this on any of our listeners who are my friends on Facebook will note on my Facebook page. Last Saturday, so a little over a week ago, I went out to do some yard work and ran into a rattlesnake in my backyard, which they're not deadly. I mean, they can be deadly for elderly and young and people with pre-existing conditions, but you don't want to get bit by one.
We are almost elderly, so we're definitely on the elder side of elderly than
there we
the
go.
middle side. Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because it was the first one I'd seen in my backyard all summer. Normally I see more than one, but leave him alone. And I didn't do any yard work that day, which was kind of nice. And he eventually makes his way to the front and through the gate. But this morning, so I live at a HOA, a homeowners association. We have 90 homes here, and then a clubhouse and a pool in the middle. And the pool is big enough; it's weirdly shaped, but it's about 17 meters from one end to the other, so I can do laps. So I do that. But I checked the scuppers, the skimmers, where the pool pump and motor sucks all the debris from the top of the pool. And I checked those. There's 4 of them. I check those every morning before I swim. And this morning again, little rattlesnake in one of them. So it was stuck. This is the second time this year that I found a rattlesnake in the pool, and he couldn't get out because of, well, it's complicated, but and it's only maybe 25 centimeters long, so maybe 12 inches, 13 inches. Wasn't that big, but it doesn't matter.
You don't kill them on sight?
No. This one I figured out how to fish him out, not with my hands, of course, but with a net. And then I took them out in the desert and dumped them out there. So they're part of the ecosystem. They eat things that it's just kind of the way it works. But the little ones, and I know this is the Macedonian Content Farmers Podcast, but we're talking about rattlesnakes in Arizona. But the little ones you have to be very careful of because they don't know. They're not old enough and wise enough to know how much venom to inject if they do bite you, and they'll put it all in there. And so the older ones know just how much venom to put in. So,
oh my God!
Helpful. Look, we are servants for our listeners, and for those of you who come to the deserts of Arizona and run into a rattlesnake, this is valuable information. So,
yeah, go for the big one.
Don't go for any of them. Yeah, give them a healthy distance when you run into them. Anyway, so yeah, summer will eventually be over here at some point, but school starts there again. Here in America, we have thousands of school districts, so school starts at different times in different places. And anyway, but the big thing I think that we can focus on this episode is the elections, and then some of these various investigations and whatever else we can figure out to talk about before Independence Day. So, local elections are October 19, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Is that a Sunday?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's always
Okay.
a Sunday.
Yeah. Because weren't the parliamentary elections?
Yeah,
last
they
time?
had.
They were
they
not
had
on a
some.
Sunday.
It was a
Yeah.
mix-up with the presidential elections, and
Right,
for some
yeah,
reason,
So-
it was like we can only do them in 1 week. In this 1 week, if we want to
Yeah.
have them on the same day, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was super weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're now back to normal on having
Yeah.
elections on Sunday.
Yes, very European. So I've not been following it too closely. You probably have not been following it too closely either, given the summer and vacations, everything else. But at this point, I mean, the big thing I think is that Dewey and Ali Ahmeti are continually trying to upset the apple cart. They're upset about being out of government. They want to come back in government, and they think that if they win a bunch of seats in the local elections, then they can call for early elections, blah, blah, blah. So what's the latest?
Yeah,
you know.
SDSM has all but given up on running for mayors by themselves. They're losing. They had a major split in Strumica, so they will probably lose Strumica. They did not nominate their incumbent. They had an independent lady who is like this anti-corruption person, who is popular on the SDSM side. Comfortable with their press people, etc. She's running as an independent in Centar, and SDSM still haven't. They should be running their incumbent mayor in Centar, but this lady will take a good chunk of their votes. So they might be thinking maybe switching their full support to her. So this is also a good chance for Vumero to pick up the seat, or Vumero together with Znam. Which will run probably their candidate in Centar. So these are like the two main places SDSM holds, and they're all but given up on them.
Wow.
So all their energy goes into helping Dewey defeat Vlen, the Albanian coalition associated with Vumero, and that's all they care about right now. And their hope is that this will help. Weaken the government, force Vumero to talk to Dewey, bring them into the government, hold early general elections, then who knows what happens. So all focus, the only game in town is how the Albanian parties will fare, and Dewey keeps coming up with some nationalist issues every 5-10 days to try to make the Vlen party look bad. The latest is because of census issues, some municipalities will have their council member seats reduced. Before that was that some idiots in Kumanovo shouted nationalist slogans while the prime minister was present against the Albanians. So this was pinned on Vlen. The debate over do we hold a new census, I think next year, electronic census that should correct the issues of the previous one, which hugely overcounted Albanians and undercounted Macedonians. So Dewey is accusing Vlen over this. So they just keep trying to come up with some nationalist issue to weaken Vlen, and then hoping that this will spark early elections.
Right. And it's interesting to me that even in opposition, Syriza continues to be the servant of Dewey. When they were in power.
It's crazy.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Dewey was basically the most important party in government, and Syriza was a junior partner, and that was in power. Now out of power, it's the same thing, and it's just really, it's a bit sad. Syriza doesn't seem to have any dignity left.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you would want to be a member of that party when you're constantly kowtowing to Dewey, and Ali, of all people, Ali Ahmeti is a criminal and a scumbag. But anyway, so you mentioned the nationalist issues that Dewey is trying to gin up and play on, etc. And you mentioned the unfortunate incidents at the game in Kumanovo, where some hooligans, I guess they weren't football hooligans because this was a basketball match, I think, but shouting anti-Albanian slogans and whatnot, and the Prime Minister did condemn those, rightly so. And there's just really no place in sports for that kind of behavior and language anywhere. It's just really it speaks more about the people shouting the slogans than about anybody else.
Or actually, there is place in sports for these slogans. It's their commonplace, and then like a few days later, and many times before, we had Albanian fans also shouting the same things, just in reverse. And today there was like an incident in Štip. Albanian and Macedonian teams were playing, like the young teams, and one of the fathers of the Albanian team, of the kids from the Albanian team, beat up two Macedonian kids over a call. So yeah, this is like...
Well, I was going to say that, after the incident in Kumanovo, then earlier this month, August, there was, an actual football match in, I don't know where it was, but the Albanians were the ones doing it. But this incident that you just mentioned, I didn't know about. It's one thing to shout, racist or nationalist or other types of chants. It's another thing, though, entirely to beat up somebody, and that is, again, I go back to, I'll continue to beat my spoon on my high chair over the issue of free speech, which Americans are infinitely more geared and hardwired towards free speech than Europeans or anybody else on the planet. And so, yes, there's these slogans shouted and whatnot. Government says it's going to investigate and prosecute. I don't think you should be prosecuted for shouting slogans, no matter how stupid you are. Let the public condemn you and shun you, etc., for being that. But there's no place, I think, for arresting people. I mean, look, this is a quick diversion. What's going on in the UK right now with people that are proudly Englishmen proudly supporting England and saying so in public, and then getting arrested for it and showing the flag of St. George or the Union Jack, because there's so many migrants, asylum seekers, and others in England that hate the values that the English were founded upon. So there have been people, or the most famous one, and the one that resonates most with me, is the lady who keeps she stands in front of an abortion clinic and she closes her eyes and she's praying silently, and she gets arrested for it. I mean, that's a crime against humanity for arresting her for that. But anyway, So, but going back to what I said a moment ago, if somebody's beating somebody up, that's a completely different kettle of fish. So that they need to be prosecuted for. And
he was arrested immediately.
Okay,
for sure.
Good. But still, again, and there's a difference between, probably the most, and our listeners might not know this, but probably one of the more vocal sports in America is high school football. And when I say football, I mean American football, and especially in places like Texas, where it's really competitive, and the parents will get out there. Now they're shouting about bad plays that the ref makes and things like that. They're not shouting racist or other slogans. It's just, it gets very, very heated, and that's actually kind of fun. But that's something totally different. So and that's good. That's healthy. So, but
no, here it's like sport is placebo for ethnic violence, and that's all over. That's the same thing all over Europe. So I think it takes a while for the Americans to understand what's going on here.
No, that's not going to happen. All right. So anyway, there's investigations on that, which I think we both agree there don't need to be investigations about speech. And then there's this investigation, and that we talked about a little bit before we went online here, on the healthcare in the health space. And this is something that was brought up by Sachko Kedev, the heart surgeon and mountaineer who has conquered the highest peaks in the world. Good on him. But you know this better than I do. Can you explain to our listeners?
He as soon as he came back from completing this challenge of doing 14 peaks around the world that are above 8,000 elevation, and I think he did all the summits, like all the tallest peaks on every continent.
Right.
So that's, I think, the whole shebang you can do. So he just recently came back from this, did a spate of interviews, and then in one of these interviews he opened up a major issue that people generally assume is happening, but we've never seen it confirmed from such a source. A top-level cardiologist, surgeon, and former presidential candidate for Vumera, he said that we have a big issue with. He still works in the state-run cardiology clinic, and he said the big chunk of my work now is I have people coming from the private clinics, where they keep, the doctors keep pushing on them, insisting that they need to do surgeries, usually like stent-type surgeries, and I don't know, this would be like 3, 5, 7,000 euros. I don't know how much it would cost in the private clinic. And he says there is no need for these things. And I keep having to, dissuade patients not to do this, not to go there. And now, after he made these comments, he did not name a clinic by name, but obviously the biggest one, the most profitable one, is Sistina or Tsakamchev's clinic. Even though in his area of work there is one smaller private clinic which is focused a lot on heart surgeries, the Jean Mitrev clinic. And so Sistina immediately came out and said that they will sue him unless he comes out and says which clinic he is referring to. And then the ministry quickly said that they will set up like a commission of foreign experts which will investigate this. And because, this is something you can confirm. The patients have their echo scans, I guess, and this can be checked after the fact. So, yeah, we're now investigating our for-profit healthcare system, which is the only functioning healthcare system in the country. I wouldn't wish the public sector on my worst enemy. But of course, we all assume that they're all too eager to tell you to do something. I mean, even when I had minor surgery, I would double check, triple check, like, okay, they're telling me I should do this, but hey, should I? I would go to, doctors in the state sector to tell me, am I supposed to be doing this or not? So you want to be careful with that now.
Right. Huh. Interesting. So so we'll see if he's actually going to name them and then what goes on. So.
Yeah.
Okay. What else we got? We got Independence Day coming up in Macedonia, but we'll I think we might have a podcast before that without giving away
the details about the podcast.
The details. Yes, exactly. So, but actually, one thing I know, I want to address this issue because this is fascinating to me. So, I look at Twitter far too often, X, whatever you want to call it. I still can't call it anything else. And you don't have to use the hashtag anymore. So Elon got rid of that. But you can plug in, and I tend to plug in North Macedonia to see what's being tweeted about. Mainly, I'm looking for examples of the media, etc., as I mentioned in our last podcast or the last article I did about, the media writing North Macedonian citizen, North Macedonians, North Macedonian language, etc., blah, blah, blah. So I'm looking for that. I'm also looking for just general news and whatnot and seeing what's going on. I don't plug in just Macedonia because, number one, if you do that, there's just so much stuff there and it would take forever to get through. But this is an interesting trend I've noticed, and I think it's and I don't really look at them. I've looked at just a handful of them, but folks using Grok. Now, Grok is the Twitter, what would you call it? The Twitter chat GPT?
AI,
Yeah, the chat AI thing. So it answers questions in both English and Macedonian, and I assume all other languages. Basically it's a large language model that, does what it does. And this is not my area of expertise. But I've noticed this trend, and I think I'm correct in saying this, of probably more Greeks and Bulgarians, maybe Albanians, using Grok to quote unquote prove their point about something about Macedonia. And I don't know if this is something you've noticed or seen or even looked into, but it's and I bring it up only because it's somewhat amusing to me. Again, I don't follow it and I don't care. But Grok is AI. AI is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is by definition artificial. Even if it is using large language models to do this, that, and the other. It doesn't take into account context, history, anything like that. It just takes what's been fed into it and spits it back out. But have you noticed that on Twitter or anything?
Yeah, I see. I generally avoid them. I don't. But I know that these AI models would vacuum stuff from Reddit and from Wikipedia, which all have their own issues with the source of, so when it's something like this that we have no way of possibly knowing the exact, genetic makeup of Alexander the Great, and but we all have very strong opinions about this. I know that the source is tainted, so, but since obviously I see them having these debates. I generally try to stay clear of them.
Oh, yeah. No, there's just no way you can... Number one, you can't win. Number two, most of the debates are started by... let me see if I can follow... just for fun, let me see. Most of the debates are started by people with a handle such as... let me see.
Cassandra the Great.
Yeah, 12385 -3 with 35 followers type thing. So
that's usually the number of followers they have. True.
Exactly. So who cares? It's just not worth it, and you can't win. So let's see. Here's interesting. Well, I'm not going to get into the details on these, but
you're not going to start arguing with people on Twitter in real time, are you?
No. Well, here's one. It's this guy's name is Vasil Malmov, and it's in Cyrillic, and his handle is at 601P4R9BPUIBZPS.
All right.
And he says, Grok, what is an ethnic Macedonian? No, actually, he says, Grok, what is ethnic Macedonian? Grok responds. It's English to English. Ethnic Macedonians, that's very nice of Grok. Ethnic Macedonians typically refer to a South Slavic ethnic group native to the region of Macedonia. Primarily in North Macedonia, speaking the Macedonian language. Their identity emerged in the 19th, 20th centuries amid Balkan national movements. In Greece, the term can also describe Greeks from the Macedonian region, tracing to ancient roots. Sources, Wikipedia, Britannica. So... that's actually not a bad answer from Grok. And again, we and Macedonians don't. If Greeks want to refer to themselves as Macedonians, that's their business. That's fine too. So, but that's interesting. So,
no, we'll have a big problem along the way because the left here, which as elsewhere, controls the academia, and they would have until recently most of the English-speaking people who would go to Western universities, who would be on Twitter, for sure. It used to be predominantly left, and they made it uncool and even forbidden to be patriotic Macedonian in the time of Gruevski, especially on the issue of ancient Macedonia and the debate with Greece and the discussion with Greece. They made it almost like a symptom of mental illness to be supporting the wholesome, holistic origin story of Macedonians from throughout all of the ages of civilization in this region, and of course now, since they ceded the terrain, these are again the people. Some of them were actually would proudly say that we are like the Wikipedia editors for so many articles on Macedonia, and they're self-loathing, auto-chauvinistic. This is a term that it's gaining prominence in the region.
What
auto-chauvinistic. You're a chauvinist
Self-chauvin.
toward your own people.
Yeah, wow.
And they seeded the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was I remember one of them, like after press pants, he said, okay, now we need everybody, including you in Vimero, because you care about this, obviously, to now all help us, since we have the Wikipedia, a lot of editing on Wikipedia to do now, so we have to tread this fine line by calling the state North Macedonia, but making sure the people are not called North Macedonians, because that's against press pan. We were all like, and half of our people who should be doing this are in prison. And we're like, go fuck yourself. Like, kindly go fucking fuck. You capitulated, but now let's help defend this little corner of national honor that we are hoping to preserve. And then when the Bulgarian issue came, and when Zaev signed the treaty with Bulgaria, and then the additional treaty with Bulgaria, when this is an issue that especially badly hurts the left, like so overinvested in fighting Bulgaria, and they were again like, okay, Vimero, come help us. Now we have to stand up like for the honor of the partisan movement, like that. Go, please. Yeah. But as a result, and you don't get this in Greece or in like in Greece, they would literally consider it a matter of mental illness when they have one member of parliament who would do this like iconoclastic speeches in parliament. He would say like, well, of course our history is made up. Like the Brits came, they invented everything from whole cloth. They pieced together, mistakenly glued a few vases and then came up with a story based on the vase, and bad translation of Homer, of what little was left of ancient literature, and they projected this onto a Ottoman tribe, like, but it's only one person. You literally can't find anything like that even on the left. Like we negotiated with the furthest left party in Greece, Syriza, and we had Zaev on our side, but we had our asses handed to us, and it was a complete capitulation because even the furthest left in Greece in Bulgaria is super dedicated to the national story. And even in Serbia now they have a huge problem with the urban left-wing colored revolution crowd, because they expanded to include the right. Mm-hmm. And at the moment their Western supporters are appalled to see what the right-wing faction of the colored revolution is saying when they get the microphone. They're considering them, look, these are even worse than Vucic's, like we might actually be trading downwards with these guys, but only in Macedonia. In Macedonia, you have self-loading intellectual elite, making quotation marks with my fingers, and the result is this is going to be a lost fight. There are already so many more Greeks and Bulgarians and etc. on doing Wikipedia and Reddits and whatever, and especially that our people are not even in the fight. So, yeah.
Well, we're going to have at some point here on one of these upcoming podcasts, we're going to have to look at the since USAID has more or less been defenestrated. What is the current state of play in Macedonia vis-a-vis international NGOs, and where are they getting their funding from, and who was getting their funding from USAID in Macedonia and now isn't, and where do they stand as an organization? I'd be curious to see 6 months, 8 months, 9 months after the fact. So anyway, let's put that on a list for a future podcast.
Yeah, still not clear. Yeah. Like they are. So, for example, some things are clearly trimmed down. Like we had the State Department Human Rights Report come out, and it was like a quarter the size of what it used to be.
Wow.
And I think it's not that the NGOs are not doing their reporting and stool pigeoning they usually did, but it's that I think it's mostly that the State Department is being also
Right.
their head pushed beneath the swamps of Foggy Bottom and kept there by the Trump appointees.
Right.
And on the NGO side, yeah, we haven't. They are cut down. Like their activities are reduced. There were noticeable activities over like this morbid, difficult topics such as the Kochani and the disaster and that car crash, that car accident, that girl that was killed before Kochani. But by the time of Kochani, they were already much more like. You could tell that it's not like the same level of mobilization that they would normally have against the Vimera government. They're obviously going cap in hand to the European countries, but still not clear. They're continuing many of the programs. For some, I know that they have been slimmed down, but not stopped entirely. Like they don't have the money they used to have, but they're still continuing. But still not clear, like whether they're using accumulated reserves of fat from the good times, whether they are finding new sources like NATO, EU. The Norwegians are much talked about, like they will cover everything. But yes, some things shut down, like Al Jazeera shut down.
Yes, I saw that. That's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some things are out, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's put that on our radar for future podcasts when we have some more time to dig into it. All right. Well, again, end of summer. I mean, summer as defined by people are on vacation and not in school. So, end of summer weather-wise, at least for us, is later. But yeah, this is good. Let's do another one right before Independence Day, which is in 2 weeks, and see what's going on.
Yep. Yeah, there will be more. Like this is the end of the summer, and
it's quiet.
yeah, this is usually the
the
dead period.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Good talking to you, Svetlin.
Yeah, you too, Betty. Take care.
You too.